substantial difference between the profit and loss and cash received, because what happens on player income is, if you can tell, and this is just really for the benefit of people so they know what happens on profit and loss, if you can tell, for example, on the Richard Keogh sell-on, when he moved from Coventry to Derby, it was a fixed fee. It didn't depend on how many games he played. They paid a fixed fee of so much at the beginning of the next 3 seasons. And we had a copy of that. And so we knew exactly what that amount of money is that would be coming to us. And because it was fixed, we are then bound to put that into our profit and loss in that year. If it had been a variable, like Gary Medine, for example, where you get paid extra money on the basis of him playing 20 matches or 25 matches or 50 matches, then you can't put that into your profit and loss until it actually occurs. And in the case of Gary Medine, for example, we all know, and it's well documented, that Gary had to play something like 25 games and Sheffield Wednesday stopped at 24, both in the league and there's another clause that if they stayed in the championship and he played more than 50% of the games, and 50% of the games were either starting or coming on before 75 minutes, then we would get an extra 100,000. And again, we were 1 game short there. I'm quite sure that parties involved in that transfer, although we were hoping, I'm quite sure that people were aware of what the content of that transfer was. And one extra game, had Gary played 1 more game, had he come on to the pitch instead of at 78 minutes but at 73 minutes in February, we would have had an extra £150,000 last year, which would have made a big difference. He didn't, so for 5 minutes we were 150,000 down. I'll always take a bit of convincing that people weren't aware of what was going on. Moving forward, we've got to try and break even in the next financial year, which is where we are now. We've looked for commercial improvement. We are getting commercial improvement. To be fair, some of our commercial partners are suffering, like the club is suffering, because of the external forces of, let's say, a recession and coming out of it, but they're coming out slowly and not spending money on what I would call luxury items like sponsoring football clubs. We've reduced our costs and we're constantly looking at that. And you can never tell, even after a cost reduction programme, whether you've got it right, because you would plan to have so many loan players, and my plan for this season has gone out the window. I won't say it's gone out the window in cost, by the way, but it's definitely gone out the window in numbers. We've had more loan players than I've ever seen, but not in terms of cost. They've just been in, out, and then with having 2 managers, you've got 2 different sets of loan players, one that the first manager wanted and another group now that the second manager wants, a totally different group of players. So, although we reduce costs, there are always external forces. You can never tell what injury level you'll have or what level of loan play you're going to have to get in. Retaining crowds, we're just about retaining the crowd, but the next 4 to 6 weeks are going to be important over Christmas, really important. We lost out in a huge way by moving the Wolves game. We never planned it would be on a Tuesday night. It was always going to be a Saturday, and we probably lost out 1,500 to 2,000 people just because of that. Squad development, we're doing far more on the youth side of the job now, and a lot of youth players in and around the squad. Some will make it, some will not make it. But we've got a target within our youth and our youth academy that is within the club vision, which is simply we're going from 1 to 9 in 10. That's our catchphrase. And what we're saying that our target is in the next 10 years, or counting last year onwards, we're going from 1 player, and that's Mark Gillespie, who's come through our academy system, youth system. And by the time we've gone 10 years, we want 9 players in that squad of 18 to have gone through our system, our youth system. So we want 50% of the team to be homegrown in 10 years' time. And that's got to be our target. Now, I appreciate that some will be better and will have moved on, but we'll track them and see where they are. But they may then be replaced by other youth players. An example, Craig Rodden at present, who's come through a youth system at Liverpool and has come into our squad. So we want through the youth systems to have developed our players in the next 10 years. So 50% of the team is actually homegrown team. That's our target. And if we can keep control and we can keep direction and we can keep the all the variables that's inside a club under control, we get the right result. But there are two things when you talk about results. The first thing is results, financial results, which give stability. The second thing is results, which are out on the pitch. And if we don't get the results, which is on the pitch, it affects the crowd, which affects the income, which affects the whole basis of your financial calculations. So it is very much a balancing act. And last year, we could see it wasn't there and we took action. This year, we're balancing just at this point in time. And we've had the upheaval already of a change of manager. We have to retain the stability to go forward to give us a good financial base for the future.